You didn't want to go? As soon as
Looking all over my head.
And to get in a little bit more pay.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Hideaway Hills Club Board of Trustees meeting of May 21, 2019. Dave Miller is absent this night. He's traveling and asked for permission. And so everyone else is here who's expected to be here. Moving forward, you all have the agenda in front of you. Can I have a motion to adopt this agenda?
So moved.
Linda Lonsinger moves. Seconded by Scott Martin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving along, good deal. President's report. I think this is a extremely important meeting in the sense that we're going to be starting the effort for to manage and to market the assessment increase. As you all know, we met 2 weeks ago and discussed and voted on it, and then subsequently the Constitution Committee gave us the official language of what we're going to be voting on in August. So it's going to be incumbent upon us to come up with an opportunity to hear members, to speak to members, to indicate to them why we need the assessment increase, that it's not going to be the same as usual. We're going to put it into, we're going to invest it into some of the most important infrastructure items in the community, and they'll have plenty of opportunity to speak to that and also potentially influence the project. Again, it was the $20 as of January 1, 2020, another $20 June 1 of 2021, and the final $20 would be in January of 2022. Anyway, I think it will be important for us to work with the management committee in getting the message out, and then also appointing a special group to help us get that message out and go forward with it. On the other note, we're ready to start the summer, I think, folks. The first concert is this year.
You might add the report the fact that the CPI increase will.
Right, that's also correct. The CPI increase, this is instead of the CPI increase. The CPI increase will be suspended for the 3 years of this assessment project. Again, we're ready for the summer. Hopefully, Randy's guys are out there getting things ready. We've got the first concert of the year, and I've seen plenty of people already out on the lake, and it's going to be pretty warm here for this weekend, so it ought to be quite an exciting time. Up on that, pardon?
Plenty of incidents.
Yeah, yes, we would appreciate a few less incident reports going forward. I think I can speak for all of us as well as security. With that, Eric, do we have any correspondence this evening?
No.
We have no correspondence. That's great. We have the minutes from last meeting, Eric.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Second by Greg, motion by Eric Lapp, second by Greg Bataston.
Is this the minutes for the both special meeting and
Let's do that in order. That's a good point. So we'll do the first one, which would be the April meeting, the minutes from the April meeting. You amend your motion.
You said the last meeting.
Well, the motion's right.
The last meeting was a special meeting.
Oh, I see. That's what Dennis was asking. You have to do both.
So then allow me to amend my motion to be specific to the April board meeting.
Second. Seconded by Greg Bataston. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now let's talk about the meeting of May 7th. Remember, we had only one topic, or generally one topic, which was the assessment increase. Do I have a motion? Dennis makes a motion and we accept the minutes. Seconded by Dwayne. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's move along. Matthews, treasurer's report, please.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the treasury report as of April 30th, 2019. There was $118,936.06 in the Benton County Bank.
Tom has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Dennis. Any questions of Tom? Seeing there are no questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, Tom. Moving along. We're on a roll. Jim Kirk, Management Committee report, please.
Good evening. Lodge and clubhouse financials. The lodge expenses were down almost $13K from last year. Lodge sales were down about $6,000 from last year, but they seem to be turning the corner. Highlights would be Ladies' Night, which I think the last one had almost 80 ladies there. They filled the whole restaurant. Weekends have been gangbusters, and the Easter brunch was very good. Sales results and the food. Weekdays are getting better. The lodge loss for April was down almost $7,000 from last year, so it's trending in the right direction. Clubhouse sales were up over $4,000 over last year, and the clubhouse profits were up over $1,500. No, pardon me, they were $1,500 for the month, which is $1,000 better than last year. Moving on, staffing. Staffing of lifeguards is not, I repeat, not at full staff yet. They're having some issues. They have enough that they will have regular hours next week, but they're still 2 or 3 short of having enough for the whole summer. We've discussed, well, we've already put an incentive out there that when you get hired and you have to go to get your certification, which I don't remember what that costs, we will reimburse half of that certification when you start and half of it at the end of the summer. A little incentive to have to stay for the whole summer. And we've done a little bit of a wage survey with some of our competitors, namely the Bremen Pool that was not open last year is now, and they're pulling lifeguards out of that pool of lifeguards. So we're looking at the wage that we're offering, because that's not an amenity that we want to tell people we can't open because we can't find lifeguards. Secondly, security has filled all its full-time positions, but it's still in need of 1 part-time. That's a good thing. One of the recent hires is done with training and assigned to a shift. The other 2 are at different stages because they started a couple weeks apart in training. They usually ride with Randall for a while and spend time on day shift, and then recently Scotty's been helping do some of the training on 3rd shift so that they get used to driving around this place in the dark, and that seems to be going well. Next, front gate area parking lots, of which there's 4 of them. The rules for the 4 parking areas were carried forward from 2018, and they were confirmed with security as to they know what is allowed to park in the front parking lot by the mail house and by the Ball Diamond and all of that. We saw no reason to change the rules. We are looking into, we're getting an estimate. I don't know where we're going to go with this because the first estimate's kind of high, to try to put a trees and bushes along in front of the old Ball Diamond parking lot where the trailers are, because we've heard the members, and quite a few of them don't like the idea. That's the first thing you see when you come out of that curve coming from the direction of the marathon station. So we're going to see what it will cost to put a screen up there. Lastly, which you alluded to in your president's report, a committee similar to the 66 2/3 committee is being formed to help inform members of the importance of the proposed assessment increase. The initial meeting, we need to probably have it in early June. We've already got quite a few volunteers that want to be on that committee to help with that effort. And there's some others we need to probably reach out to. I'd like to have a nice round number of about a dozen. I think last year's effort with only 2 or 3 on the committee was part of the reason for failure. So we want to make sure we got a committee put together to help inform the members. And that's all I got. Questions?
How much does the screening cost, estimate?
screening
For the,
trees?
yeah.
Hang on a minute. I really didn't do the math because it was,
I was just looking ballpark.
You can get your checkbook out.
No, I was just curious.
over $3,000. We're looking at,
logistics, tree screen.
we're looking at first we thought about going out by the split rail fence and incorporating some bushes in the trees that are already there. But then you'd have to screen all the way from the green gate, basically, I don't know, probably 75 yards almost before you really screen the view. So we're gonna, the next thought was to go between the parking lot and what is that, Cato Lane, and run them along there and curl them on the, what would be the east end or the guard shack end, curl them around just a little bit. And that's gonna take, probably, that's still gonna take 40 trees.
How's the staffing? I know you were struggling a little bit at both the lodge and the clubhouse with,
At the moment, we've had two new employees start upstairs. I think both of them started tonight. And that gets them very close. I think they still need one in the kitchen. The clubhouse is okay. They've got the four, ladies that, and they've got Casey Green, who does, the certain nights when they need to cook. And as long as nothing else happens, we're okay.
how's the project going there in terms of the kitchen project? Is that or?
Well, they were painting today.
Okay. I just haven't been, I haven't been into look at it.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
That's, I haven't talked to John recently. He's kind of spearheading it tonight. I haven't talked to him about it.
I don't think the wall's been knocked out.
He's not really sure either.
Oh, really?
I just talked to him the other day.
They haven't cut the hole yet, I don't think.
I think I checked this weekend and the wall was still there between the kitchen.
Yeah.
No, I think they have to do none of the electrical's been done yet.
On the inside.
On the inside, correct. And I think all that has to be done because none of the drywall is done on the inside of the kitchen expansion area. Because they've left one side open everywhere to get the electrical in.
Well, I need to find out because we kind of want to do do something when they're done as a, announcement. Scott Martin State Night or something like that.
Hopefully we'll still be around when it's finished.
That's hopeful. Any other questions?
What about the security camera on the deck out there?
That's been tabled.
I mean, why?
Why did we want it or why is it tabled?
Why? There were some questions about it, and you were gonna order it, and
Well,
why wouldn't we do it?
It's almost $3,000 at a time when the budget is pretty tight. As
I thought the camera was like 1,800.
I thought it was $2,700.
No, it was 1,800.
Oh, okay, almost $2,000. Pardon me. And we just decided that with other things going on, we were going to hold off on that for a while.
No discussion about that?
Well, as one of the people who raised some objection to it, it's not only the cost, it was the fact of what's it gonna get us? In terms of the number of incidents at the clubhouse that would be solved because we had a camera out there. Now there's talk about putting a walkway of some sort between the deck and the shelter so the smokers can go over there and smoke. At that point, then I would reverse my concern because, then you can have people be able to get up on that deck without coming through and people around the club.
So at that point, we would, instead of putting the camera facing towards the door into the lodge, we'd put it up and face it towards the shelter because that would be an ingress egress type situation where we'd want some sort of camera. To your other point, though, it was pointed out after some discussions with numerous people that any incident we've had there, at least in the year or so that I've been getting the incident reports, there's never failed to be somebody step up and witness. So you don't have to have a security tape to back up the incident report when it comes in here to go to an Article 9. So
is smoking an issue out there?
yeah, probably.
I'm trying to get a definite on that from the health department.
The health, we just got inspected 30 days ago, 45 days ago down there. You know, the health inspector usually comes in early in the day, but there might not be anybody sitting out there smoking when the health inspector's there, but there's ashtrays all over the place out there, so.
So how's that affect us?
They don't.
If they said something.
Well, if they said something, if they state that we cannot have that as a smoking area, then we'll have to stop smoking.
And if we do that, we'll lose all these profits that we're making at the clubhouse right now.
I think it's silly.
Oh, yeah.
To get into a discussion on something that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
It ain't broke, let's don't worry about fixing it till it gets broke. There's, like he said, they couldn't help but see the ashtrays out there when they walked through. Whether there was somebody out there smoking or not, who knows? But, if it ain't broke, leave it alone.
Well, one thing I will say is, the law is so many feet within a doorway, ingress, egress. And I believe it's 25 feet. So, you know, calculate your footage. So yes, it could be a problem. And in regard to, I'm not saying that I'm in favor of having surveillance. It feels a little funny, but there isn't any expectation of privacy in that area. So legally, yeah, you could do it. Is it something you want to do is another decision. But if smoking is an issue, I think out on the deck because of the doorway, like we or don't, I think that we are in violation.
That's what I'm trying to get clarification on.
That would be good, but that's my sense of it.
Well, he's getting clarification to be discussed at the management meeting next Tuesday. And whatever the clarification is will be put out in an e-blast, basically defining the smoking, no smoking areas for both here and the clubhouse.
Well, they can fine us
Absolutely.
and continue to fine us.
But the purpose of the camera when you wanted it was never for smoking of cigarettes anyway.
Correct.
For misconduct.
And we have misconduct on the deck upstairs here, which resulted in people getting Article 9, and we didn't jump, oh, let's put a camera out there, so why should we put cameras? I like cameras on the cash register. I think that's a good idea. I don't see cameras, doors, monitoring members is just silly.
For a safety or security issue, I would agree with that. But just to monitor members, I'm absolutely against that.
Well, that's,
And the other thing is, we just talked about not spending $3,000 to do something that a lot of members want. You had almost 2,000 in the camera, and you were willing to spend that. So I would say, I look hard about those trees.
Yeah, move that to the tree fund.
There you go.
All right.
any other questions?
Thank you very much. Moving on to Mr. Swetnam.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to go over the delinquency totals. As of April, they were, the regular assessments was 27,747. For May, it went up to 31,566. I'm going to explain that here a little bit as soon as I do the roads. The roads as of April was $3,295. As of May is $3,395. Only went up 100. If I know you all got a copy of the delinquency report, if you'll notice, which is great. We only had one person on there on the 60-day list for regular assessments. Nobody on the 60-day list for roads, and that same person plus another, meaning two, on it for the dams. If you'll notice also that something new that Penny has added to that is the folks on the payment plan. And so a lot of that, other than the folks that has been on there for a while, is due to the payment plan. And people are making payments on the payment plan. Just that there's $4,669 on the payment plan that sort of bumps that total up because we aren't adding a lot of people here. And so, with the exception of the payment plan, which tends to bump that up some. So I think we're really doing well on that, and we'll keep at it. Dam assessment total $358,037 as of today. Another thing I wanted to bring up, I brought up at the management committee meeting there last week about board approved events and communication with the office on availability. Please talk to your committee chairs and tell them if they're planning something to check with the office to see if there's any conflict there, because several years ago Eric put up the calendar, which was a great idea, but a lot of committee chairs aren't adding to that, and so please ask them before, if they're not going to do that or check it, ask them to check with the office before they schedule an event, just to make sure there's not a conflict, because we have most of that in there. So if you would, please.
Randy, in support of that, I'm asking the committee chairs or the board members asking for requests on dates to let us know what is on the calendar for a date they're suggesting. Because they might, one committee say, well, that won't matter. We're doing this and they're doing that. It might matter.
Yeah.
So before we send out the e-vote, I'm going to be letting you know what matters. Because during the summer, we had a lot of events in sync.
Right.
And some don't conflict, but others do.
And I think that would be a good thing for to discuss at a meeting when they're asking for approval.
Right. Yeah. But the problem is a lot of them go through e-votes.
Yeah.
So they've got to tell me before I'll send the e-vote out what else is on the calendar.
Yeah, good idea. Thank you. Go ahead.
I was going to bring up along I meant to say something, Penny, about this. Maybe you could mention, but she kind of just puts in there, like, I'm just looking here, amphitheater social committee for this weekend. We don't really know what else is going on. If she could add a little more detail. Like, I actually went in and put in that it was the Blair Carmen concert, but maybe if she can, like, there's some other stuff here that's great rooms reserved. Now, I get it if that's a personal thing, but maybe it's yoga, or I don't know. But that might be helpful if she could add a little more detail.
Well,
Which is,
actually, if it's something that we book, yeah, we'll do that. But if it's something the social committee books, that's, I think if they're going to put that on there, they should
I agree.
make that explanation.
And I've tried to.
No.
They're volunteers.
I know.
Communicate
But we don't
that,
know,
so.
but we don't know either, so, yeah, okay, understood.
Randy, are you saying if you know, you'll put it on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It just, with the training of the new employee and with the audit, well.
But as we get the date approved, I typically send Penny the e-vote and say this has been approved.
Great, perfect.
So, they know.
Yes, perfect. Sold 3 lots today on South Lane, so that's a good thing.
Nice.
I've got another one that we're going to talk about this evening, I believe.
Yeah, under new business topics.
Possibility. And so, I've got to still have some interest in the 4 lots. The audit was the 2-year audit was last week, so that took up some of our time. The results come out in July. Typically, we'll have the meeting, and they'll either come here and talk to the board or come to talk to certain people about the audit, how that went. They had no findings this year. You folks that know anything about accounting, findings are a bad thing. They had no findings this year, which is good. Mosquito testing program through Hocking County will start again this year when at the appropriate time. I'm going to try to get Fairfield to come in on the north end also, if possible. They did do some last year. To see how that went. And then the last thing on my list was the ORV rules enforcement. probably noticed the incident report that was put out, and there'll be more, because we have been enforcing this a little bit differently. We do have to get security up to speed on some of the rules. And the reason I said that is because one warning was put out that it was a mistake. You shouldn't have warned a person that didn't have a helmet on while they were driving a go-kart, which they don't need a helmet to drive a go-kart. So, security has been informed about the mistakes that they made on that. One thing that they brought to me was that
there's nothing to read.
if you look at the rules, it's a little confusing because you've got ORV rules under vehicles, and then you've got the ORV rules at the end of the club rules. So I'm asking the board if it's okay if we not combine them, but put those rules together so they're not in two different places in the club rules.
Randy, you said go-kart,
golf carts, I'm sorry, golf carts, yes, I'm sorry.
Good catch.
Thank you very much for that. But I'm asking to move the ORV rules to behind the unlicensed motor-driven land vehicles. I'm asking to move the ORV rules right behind that so it's not so confusing for everybody. Does anybody have a problem with that? It's just a movement in the rules.
No problem. Not gonna get further on reasons.
Why was it two separate places?
I have no
First
idea.
place, is it
I have
just,
no idea. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they're both different. It's just that it's two different places. And I mean, they're like 10 pages apart, so it was confusing, not confusing, but hard to find when security was asked about it.
Let Tim take a look,
Okay,
and I'll get to him right away. I don't see a problem, just Tim was really good at that stuff, so there may be, he might say you've got to put them both places for some reason.
well, it's not gonna be a change other than the movement.
Right, okay.
You know, we're not adding or subtracting anything, we're just moving it so they're all together.
And the training session for ORV, the new ORV drivers is
This Sunday.
this Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
Shelter house.
at the shelter house,
Yeah.
okay.
I might add to anyone watching, we did have a guard implementing a rule incorrectly.
Yeah.
But putting it on Facebook and asking people who don't know doesn't do you a bit of good. If people would call the office and find out, they'd get the real scoop as opposed to a whole bunch of chain of things which are incorrect.
And I did send an apology to that.
And it was warranted.
Yeah.
I'm not,
Absolutely.
but they could have called you and had it settled right now.
Right.
A lot sooner.
Sure. That's all I have.
Hey, Randy, the other question, I talked to you earlier about it, but the aerator on Eagle Claw,
Yes,
that has been removed.
yes.
All right, I had several people ask about it.
And that's gonna be on the agenda for next Tuesday. We're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
While we're talking about Eagle Claw, is the siphon still going?
No, we pulled that siphon out.
Why?
Because mainly it wasn't doing any good with all the rain we have been having. I mean, it would pull it down a little bit and then the rain would fill it right back up again. So,
We just don't have any solutions there for getting the water out a little quicker?
well, we do. We have a solution if it dries up enough, so we can get out there and cut that off. I mean, we were hoping that it would freeze up enough, and it never did.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if you cut that pipe off enough, we've been talking about it. Does that take enough out of there?
Seems to be that pipe isn't that big for to put water. Do you think that will really?
Oh, I think it will. We'll see.
But the water level has to drop below that, or what are they gonna cut it off with a torch?
Yes.
So it's gotta be.
What they're gonna do, they're gonna cut it off below the ground level as it is right now, and they're gonna dig a trench from the lake to the principal spillway then. So it'll be lower. And it's gonna end up about wherever normal pool is. And normal pool is about where the sinkholes are. That takes a lot of it out too, so.
Do we know what that level is? Is it
They do.
Okay.
They have it marked.
Okay.
I mean, I can't tell you what it is, but they have it marked.
That's what I.
Yeah.
Well, I thought Tom had put a marker out there.
Yeah,
I
last
did.
year, right?
they went off of that. They went off of that.
It's never gone down to that, it's just, it stayed so high.
I know.
Well, it's not just the people who live on it, it's,
That you can't access to.
you.
Right. I know. We'll get it. I know we've been saying that, but conditions have to be right.
You can't do anything about the rain, Randy?
More president.
It's probably thought that was a board issue.
Yeah.
That's a very
Higher than that.
They are you folks that live on Eagle Claw, you just have a pail party.
Taking buckets out.
The bucket over there, you How's that work?
Not very well.
All right. Anything further for Randy? If not, we'll move on to committee business and reports. All right, thank you, Randy. Let's get on to it. Mr. Lloyd, do we have anything?
Thank you, Mr. President. It so happens we do. Well, Committee first. They did cancel the Funny Palooza. It was due to all the rain in the arenas were just a muddy mess. They are going to schedule it again. Able Roofing repaired one roof leak in April and came back on May 17th to add more repair substance into an area. It was still leaking, and Amber Hayes submitted plans to the office so they can get moving on a new shelter in Field 3. Construction should occur in mid-June, and we don't want anyone. Airport Committee, I'll need a motion for this. We'd like to do a fundraiser. Basically, it's a concert in the code that we did last year in conjunction with Rise Realty, who's going to be putting on a concert. The concert will go from 3 to 7, I believe it is. And it'll be on Kevin Fleeman's deck. So we will be cooking food and delivering food from the beach. And the times on the actual food thing, sometime just prior to the concert start, we believe, somewhere, or maybe around 4 o'clock during the break. We've got another meeting Saturday. We're going to iron a lot of the stuff out, like the menu and everything else. But
what's the date, Jim?
it's September 1st, Labor Day. Well, day before Labor Day. Sorry about that. We're still up in the air on what we're going to do about food. There's been some talk of barbecued ribs, talk about smoked chicken breast. We'll come up with something, and just like last year, we'll sell it in advance and deliver it during the concert out there, or it can be picked up. We'll be cooking it up above the beach area. If it goes over as well as it did last year, why, everybody will be happy. I'll have more information on it, but I do want to reserve that date, basically from about 1 o'clock till 7 is when it'll be going on.
Is there anything else on the calendar on September 1st?
I got this afternoon, 4 o'clock. You know, I thought about getting up during the board check and stuff.
No, Mr. Eric will probably be able to tell.
September when?
First, May 1.
I don't remember anybody bringing up any Labor Day.
Amphitheater.
September 7th. Yeah, there's going to be yoga at Kevin Fleeman's deck that day.
They start after we serve all the food and been on the lake and found a few down. It ought to be a real interesting yoga class.
So September 1st. Or September 2nd is Labor Day. Okay, yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything.
I didn't remember anybody bringing up anything.
You have an amount up to, or
Pardon me?
an amount?
I don't want any money yet.
Okay, just reserve the date.
Just reserve the date.
August 31st, the social committee's got a concert. So and you're gonna do one the next day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Music in the hills. I need somebody to make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Dwayne Mickey makes the motion for the date for a concert on the lake on September 1. from 1 to 7, seconded by Scott Martin. Any further questions? You're welcome. Mr. Mickey.
The pool committee's got the project going with the other part of the deck area. We undecided that we're working on. Material is at the contractors, but the weather has not been conducive for that again this year. The range committee, we didn't have a meeting last month, but it's on the rain.
Thank God. That's a question, Randy, the drive back to the range, to the shooting range that goes by the Lutheran church. That road's looking pretty rough, and the Lutheran church road is looking pretty rough, is it? I remember we had some involvement with them previously, it's a long time ago, in terms of putting a culvert in, or some aspect of that road. Is that still?
Yeah, we talked to them about putting a culvert, splitting the difference, and they said they weren't willing to do that, so we pretty much kept them trying to keep that maintained.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I was supposed to bring something up about that road. I did not write it down, so I did not remember it. The church had an estimate, they suggested a blacktop from the road down to that point, and it was like $3,500. We're still getting estimates, but that was one of the estimates. And I was going to talk to you or us about some kind of split cost on that, or just to get that little problem, because it is eroding pretty good. And you've been very good at putting it on there and keeping it.
It just keeps
It
going away.
just keeps washing away.
Yeah.
That has been a continuing theme in the last year and a half, that's for sure.
Okay. So I'll get with you on that one,
Yeah,
then we get another estimate or two.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Can I add one? I don't think I did. The music, and I don't remember the name of the band, will be sponsored by Rise Realty, Jim Sutherland, through the airport committee.
Okay. Does she have someone yet, or no?
No, Billy's a lot.
I can't remember the band. I can't remember. It's already booked.
That's the band that was last year's.
It's a different band, I'm sure of that.
Okay.
You're sure that because they wanted a new band, or that just?
I don't remember the name, and I don't think Hillbilly Deluxe was the name of it. She only told me once, and it takes a little more time than
You gotta remember, you can remind you of things and then it's
Scott, you got anything?
I don't have it.
Nothing at all.
I do have something. This is for the Lakes Committee, and I note that it's on the Google Calendar. I have not been able to find anything in my email where we have taken a vote to approve the date for the tadpole fishing contest. Excuse me.
No, I don't think so. Either.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. It is on the Google Calendar, so can we make that official? Tadpole fishing contest, we would like to have that, or the Lakes Committee would like to have that Saturday, June 15th. It will be for,
8 to 12 is what they've done in the past.
yeah, this says, the raffles will start at 12:30. Let's do this, let's hold the date, and then we can get a time out later.
You need money?
We do need money, $500. Up to $500 for prizes and food. We do want to hold the date for the 15th. Time to be determined. I just want to confirm that with the Lakes Committee.
I think the secretary is checking the calendar.
I don't think it's good. I mean, are you pulling it off the calendar as well? I'm still back at.
Yeah, I pulled it right off of the Google Calendar.
I mean, I put that on there after I saw it. I go through and I put stuff on there from time to time, so. Was it advertised somewhere? Did you put it? Maybe
Eric, I don't remember.
yeah.
but I don't think we took a vote on it.
No, we didn't.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor from Linda to save the date for June 15th, $500 for prizes.
Up to $500
$500
For prizes and food.
And she will get back to us with the exact time.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
That's all I have.
That's all. Okay, Jennifer, 1:50. Mr. Petanza.
Okay, activities for youth. I call your attention to the report in the packet, and note that that's the committee chairman who really does it well. He does it right. And there's one thing I want to bring up before we talk about dates. They're doing the Dam Jam. And at the Dam Jam, one of the things that they have said in their literature is that they're going to have a bounce house. Now, if any of you have seen the things that happen with bounce houses when the wind comes up, I want the board to know that they're asking to have a bounce house. And
We've had bounce houses in the past.
they have, and then there's been no problem here. But there's been places where I'm sure you've seen on the news where you had a bounce house flying with kids in it.
I ran crashes too, but
That's true. That's right, Scott. Let me finish. I gotta believe that the contractor, and I asked Shannon to go to the contractor and tell us what his safety precautions are and up to wind speed. But I would ask that if we consider it, that let's say he says, oh, you're good till 15 miles an hour, we decide what it is, but somebody has got to be responsible that day to close it, if it has to be closed. I hope not. Those things are fun. I want the kids to have it. But I also don't want to see one of those things in Highland Hills go up in the air with kids in it. So I'm just asking the board what their thinking is of how we should handle that. I'm not worried about the liability. I don't care less about that. I'm worried about the kids in it.
If I remember right, when the social committee had them, we had adult supervision there the whole time.
And that's the plan this time too.
So that's the way we handled that, so to make sure they were ushering kids in and out, and it sprung a leak and started to leak, so they closed it down.
All right, did they know though that if the wind got to be a certain speed that they were going to shut it down? Because when you start doing it, people are saying, oh, don't shut it down, it's not that bad.
Well, I can't say for sure, but I'm relatively certain that they were all cognizant of the value or the danger of it, that it would have been shut down.
Does the vendor have insurance? The vendor have insurance?
We'll ask. But then that's the minor report.
Yeah, we said that. We staked it. It comes with stakes, we staked it. I don't remember ever, because we went and picked it up.
Yeah.
The one we had, the fan motor wouldn't work, and we had to go get another one right before the Dam Jam, go to Newark and get it replaced. I don't know, I just think it's you see a couple things on viral videos on YouTube, and I'm sure it's bad when kids fall out of them and have to go to the emergency room, but I don't think, there's thousands and thousands of bounce houses go up, and
Who's going to be the bounce house? Do we know?
Well, the Activities for Youth is doing it.
and I'm on the committee, the Dam Jam Planning Committee through Activities for Youth, and, basically, the reason I got on the committee is I was on it before when it was through social and all that, and, they wanted a bounce house, and I said, we've always done it before, we've just asked people to sign up volunteers, and we'll have a list of who's in charge. Now, as far as trying to figure out what wind speed you're going to be able to run it to, and how are you going to know what the wind speed is?
Come on, it's common.
I mean, it's obvious if it's
I get
windy.
notifications on my phone whether we're gonna have wind speeds.
Right, wind.
I guess maybe what Greg's trying to get at is, in my mind, is that do we have one or two people who are going to be sort of the coordinators, who will take the responsibility to pull the plug if it needs to be?
Well, I would assume that the chair of the committee is Shanna, and Carrie is the one, Acme is the one that's like running the dam jam portion of that committee. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to ask the people that you rent it off of, hey, this could up to 10-mile-an-hour wind, 15. I have no idea what that would be.
Yeah, and the idea being that someone who would have the authority that we, that the committee would recognize or delegate or designate as the person to say, let's shut it down.
Sure.
And
it could be lightning, we might, do the same thing. If lightning comes out, we're gonna say, hey, we're not gonna have people standing out here in the lightning.
Are you guys have another meeting, or you're gonna be following up on it?
Yeah, we'll have another meeting.
Just ask them to think about that, having somebody and making sure that's something that's in place.
What hours of operation?
The bounce house, I believe, is going to go from 5 o'clock until through, I don't think we put an end time on it yet until we see kind of how it goes. I mean, as far as dangerous things, I think the dunk tank was more dangerous. I saw they eroded every year. It was more dangerous than the bounce house.
Yeah, definitely so. But only one person gets killed, that's the idiot that's sitting up there.
Thank you very much.
Stop it there.
All right.
Okay, thank you. One other thing that came up in discussing with Shannon today, that's interesting, is that she's got a sponsor who wants to contribute $500 and asked us for a W-9. And that's basically an ID, that's our tax ID. And so that there must be a way that she knows that we're not charitable, but they can expense it if they have the W-9. You agree with that? So I just mentioned it to other committees, if you can, because we can't take donations and have to claim it as charitable, but here's a business who's figured it out, says, well, I'll give you $500, you give me a W-9 so I can expense it, and they're happy as a lark. So Randy says that we'll give it to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, second question, can we bill my credit card?
Can we what?
Bill it on a credit card. If they give us a credit card, can we somehow run the credit card and give the $500 to activities for youth?
Minus the processing fees.
There you go. Right.
Probably.
Okay. I gotta believe we could. Shannon.
Well, I mean, we've kind of set rules as far as credit card use, but sure we can make an exception if we have to.
I don't see this being often, but we can do it.
I think if anybody wants to donate money to us, we'll.
Yeah, it's $500 for that, what they're doing, and AFY took this on.
And we've got a lot of people that really came out and supported us on this thing, and we've had a lot of stuff, of money from members.
It shows people wanted to do it. Okay, AFY is asking, I'm going to make a motion that they want up to $400 from the Activities for Youth Fund to be advanced to buy food and supplies for a stand at the community auction. I don't know what date.
It's June 8th.
Yeah. They're tagging on to the.
Something else is going on that day, Eric. I didn't see on the calendar.
Sure, put that on there.
Right, it's only closing one green.
And nobody can hold that green anyway, so. Yes, I would. Do I have a second for Greg?
Second.
Dennis, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
From the Chapel Committee, who has an event on Memorial Day, Sunday, at 7:30 p.m. For a memorial service honoring those who gave the ultimate sacrifice to protect our freedoms. They're asking for $213.45 from Chapel Committee funds to CA House to buy 2 microphones.
Second from Eric. Any questions of Greg on the purchase of a couple microphones? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And now I have 2 from Social Committee, because Tom's not here.
I'm here. Tom is here.
Dave's not here. All right. They both sit down there.
Dave Matthews, yeah.
Okay. Social Committee is asking for up to $65 from Social Committee funds for a banner for the first concert.
I second.
Scott second already up.
Yeah.
That's why I saw it out there already. Yes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And also, the social committee is asking to take $100 from social committee funds for the golf, to sponsor a hole during the member guest.
Social committee, 100 for a whole member guest.
I'll second that.
Second from Scott. Any question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Food Fund and Fellowship, I don't have anything to ask for. There is the deck tour here this weekend. And so I think they have several nice places for people to visit, so I encourage anybody who has the time. There's a lot going on this Saturday, that's for sure, but that's one of the things if you can work into your schedule, it might make some sense.
Jim, is that benefiting the Raise the Deck program, or is that all the money going, I've heard different stories on that, or is it all going towards prizes?
That's hard because of the question they were having with the deck and where we're at with that. I believe what I understood from Annie and Kathy is that was not going into the Raise the Deck project, that was going to go into programming and other opportunities, stuff for the staff up here, maybe some additional things.
Okay.
But that was the plan at this time, because we're, as you know, working that one out. But that was a conversation that we had, and I've not heard anything.
So they're raising money for food, triple F, it's not necessarily going for the deck, it's going for other projects.
That is correct. That is the goal of this project, or the Raise the Deck tour this week.
Okay. Yeah, one other question. The foods, so there's triple F. Is the food service committee meeting with the lodge at all, with our chef, or is it everything is being through management? Okay. What's the food service committee doing now then?
Hey, Jim, can you talk into the mic?
Yeah. Eric asked whether or not what the food service committee was doing. The food service committee was the chair of the management committee and 2 additional people for several years. Both of those people are no longer on the committee or working with it. So it literally has become just the management committee working with them. The food services committee was never an official committee per se. It was more of just an advisory group.
But the food services committee did request amenity funds.
That is correct.
Even though it's non-official committee?
No, it was an official.
You're right, I misspoke. But back originally it wasn't, when it was just Harley and Bucky and Elizabeth Lessner and then me. So, and Mike Rout for a while too.
You think there's a need for an actual committee? Maybe if we had some people that were
In the food service?
in the food service business and could maybe help us out with seems like one of our main sticking points around here is the lodge, and Jim's working on it pretty hard, but
I'm not averse to it.
I mean, you run it before, that's what I asked.
Yeah, that was what as being on the management committee chair was my role with it. Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, how do you?
I have no issue with that.
I mean, you and Dan are sort of
Dan and I are handling it now. About the time that Matt left, a little bit over a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, when Matt left and John took over, the one person, at least, that was very knowledgeable in the business and was helping, got busy in his corporate life and didn't have the time to dedicate to it anymore. So, if we had some people that knew the business and wanted to sit in on and help advise, that'd be great.
You guys got people in mind? I have one guy in mind. He bought a house off Eric and I, and he's a rep for U.S. Foods, and he's been in the restaurant business his whole career. I'm sure he'd be happy from just talking to him. I think he will be happy to,
Yeah, I think it really just sort of got overtaken by events in the sense that we had, one of our members got very involved with it and working, and then we had the transition, and with Matt Rapicelli coming in, we certainly had invested a lot, and we were basically looking to see what he could do, given his experience and the like, so, but yeah, I think we provided a service in the past, and I have no problem with it.
I mean, we have so many new members here that I don't even know who they are, but I would assume that of all those new people, some of those people would, have some experience in,
They have
restaurant
opinions.
business. Everybody's got one of those.
I'm
experienced in the restaurant business is eating.
No, all the people that have an opinion should step up.
Scott, if you contact that guy, you can either have him contact me or come to a management meeting and we'll get together.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that if there's any other names too.
You know, with the town teleplan, or the restaurant down Logan?
Yeah, he's been in business for years.
But we've never asked him if he would help out, to my knowledge.
Well, see, I thought that's what that committee was for, and I know you don't have a whole lot of restaurant experience, and to have some help.
Eating in restaurants for 50 years.
But to have some people with obviously some experience, I think was the idea of that. And
I would love to.
That's fair, so that's how I was.
No, I had no, I think that's a good idea.
I think that'd be great.
Is there a way to put a request out?
That's what I would think. I agree with that, Dennis. Maybe put an email blast or something out. If there's anybody with restaurant experience that would, be interested in being on the committee, it's kind of went away, and we're looking into the possibility of, getting it back up and running. I don't think we should just handpick people just because I happen to know the guy. I mean, it should be open to anybody that has experience and wants to take a look.
Yeah, I think we can. Good. Yeah, good point. I certainly don't have any problem with it, and if we can get some good people, that would be helpful. No question.
As far as I was concerned, the new member committee has a new member meeting for new members in the past year this Saturday from 11 to 1. So that's all I got.
Eric, do you want members of the board to be there?
I believe the invitation was to everybody.
They would like board members and committee members to be there.
Yes.
There'll be, I talked to Lance yesterday, actually. Committee members will have a chance, committee chairs or somebody represent, will have a chance to talk to the people, and they would like the board members and management members to be there too, just to meet and greet.
Yeah, there's an email out for that, and then a personal invite.
Right.
There was an e-blast, wasn't there?
Yes,
Yeah.
just today.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was that one, yeah. Today was that one.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's, usually Lance calls and identifies everybody out there and asks if they have a word to say and things like that, so. And some people say a lot. And others say a lot less.
That's all I got.
That's all. Tom, what's up with you?
Health and Wellness Committee has the 5K this Saturday, 9 a.m.
Saturday, there's something.
Yeah, let's just kick the whole weekend off. So, and then I'd like to make a motion for the golf committee to pay Logan Monument $1,389.75 for a bronze plaque to recognize past memorial members.
Second.
How much was that?
$1,389.75.
Is the current one full, or are we just?
Yes.
The bigger one? Okay. That makes sense.
This is just going adjacent to the other one. There won't be any writing on it, just place put more names.
More names.
Unfortunately, people keep passing away.
And then probably still continue.
Not the same one.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion passes unanimously. Any more, Tom, or is that?
Nope, that's it.
You good? Dennis?
I think we're gonna be talking about Long Range Planning Commission.
We sure will.
Did we get elevated to commission status?
Very good. Anything further from anybody? All right, let's move on to open forum.
Thinking about what to talk.
hashes. Winters, you didn't say anything, right? Were you planning on talking?
Me?
Yeah. There's a question that says,
I do have-
do you wish to speak? And
Yes, I just wanted more information about the pool committee, the lifeguards, who should I get in contact with to get in contact with you about
Can you swim it?
You know, I need it, my dog.
I was thought we were gonna be lifeguard and.
Cancel my pool.
Hey, we actually had one person put an application in that couldn't swim.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that was a requirement.
And if Ed's gonna get certified, we're paying it after the entire job.
I just need some information from my daughter, she's.
Yeah.
She was swimming last Thursday.
Yeah, give me a call.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
All right, seeing there's nobody else, let's move on. The next item are reaffirming the e-votes. Anyone got unfinished business?
Number 4, unfinished business.
Oh, right, I jumped. Unfinished business topics. Mr. Yost is here tonight. All of us have gotten copies of the Long Range Planning Commission report. I certainly am very grateful for the work they've done. I think it was a very good recounting of many of the current issues that we have. And I like the way it was sort of produced in a concise fashion that we could go down and look at them. I guess at this point, I'm asking if anyone here has any questions or comments of Kent. And then following that is the process of how do we want to move forward. There are some things that revolve around board activities and others are management committee. And at the same time, I think we need to recognize the effort and the work product that they've generated. So first, does anybody have any questions or comments regarding the Long Range Planning Commission report? Kent, who's here tonight.
No, I thought it was very well done, put a lot of work into it, thanks.
Thank you.
I agree.
I provided it to you, and would like to start tonight a 30-day review of comment period for board management, because eventually I'd like to put it on the website, once your comments are addressed.
Okay. That certainly was the second part of what I thought we wanted to talk about tonight. And Ken's made a proposal that we have a 30-day period here where we would read it and forward any questions or comments to the committee. Any seconds for that?
Second.
Linda seconds. All right, so
Again, I'd like to suggest that as you read it, you pick out your top 3 or top 2 things that you'd like to see done. There's a lot there, and unfortunately, I just don't think we can accomplish everything that they're suggesting. And having been the author of other 5-year plans, I understand. That's frustrating. But we can't let this be done and not do anything about it. We've got to take a couple and then go after it.
And doing that in the context, I think, of the assessment increase is a good way to look at it as well.
Well, there's one other portion of that. There's so many options there. One of the things that the committee is looking to do is to do a survey for membership online that will really get as much input as we can possibly get, so that can supplement the board review and give us enough that we can actually present that to management, to the trustees, and to the membership themselves. Now, the problem is making those questions. It's really very complicated. It's a hard task. So if anybody is willing to spend some time talking with me about that, because I'm working with Ken on this, I would really appreciate anybody who is willing to spend an hour with me going over where the survey is now and where you think it should go. All we have to do is sit down with the computer and we can look at it and go through it. But we do need feedback. We need to start to get official feedback, whether this is the right way to do things and whether the questions are going to elicit the responses that we need.
In 2015, Long Range Planning did a member survey, and we were planning to do it again in 2020, 5 years later. But there were some questions were brought up about, can we ask questions in the survey about the lodge? And that kind of sparked us to want to move it up further in time so that we could get some questions about the lodge.
And it should certainly be able to support the vote on the assessment increase.
So your plan is to do the survey and have the results out prior to the assessment vote?
It would not be a difficult thing to do if we can get feedback in the next 30 days.
Do you have a template of questions already developed?
I've got, what is it, 26 questions now?
Yeah, something like that.
26 questions right now.
Are the questions just for us as board members, or is it also committee chairs as well to ask questions, or who is this limited to? Just the board?
No,
30-day period
For the membership?
eventually the survey is intended to go to membership. Are you talking about the questions themselves?
I'm not talking about the survey.
Right.
I'm talking about, the motion is for the 30-day question period, and I'm wondering, is it just board members, or is it board and committee chairs, or is it anybody in the
You're
community?
talking
that
about
asks questions?
reviews and report.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yes, okay.
So I guess I switched gears again.
Well, the long-range plan is the management and board. You get your comments, and then we would
Okay.
send it out.
Okay.
It was compiled by information from the committee chairs and from the general manager and anybody I could talk to about it, so.
Okay.
So that's phase one, is to get our comments back.
But can you,
And the second piece is the actual questions on the survey,
Right.
which Dennis has a template.
can you just email the template to the board and management? Is that a problem?
I can send, you want me to send the link out?
Yeah.
All right, I'll send the link out.
Okay.
And then everybody can, it's a kind of a pilot, but you'll all be able to go through it, answer the questions, and then we'll get a report on how people respond, what the people's response was. And then we can see if that's giving us the information that we want. But the real thing is, in order to drill down on things like the lodge, the clubhouse, there's a series of questions that you have to ask. There's no simple questions to ask. You have to ask a series of questions, and we just want to make sure that we're asking the right questions so we can get the right information. You don't want to waste people's time. That's what it comes down to.
And right now, the survey doesn't entail any write-in responses.
Right.
It's pretty much yes or no or multiple choice.
Is it like 1 to 5 scaling, or well?
It's all different kind of, because at one point it says, it ranks all the amenities, how do you rate your usage of them? You know, like 1 to 7, and you just go through and you mark each one. So we'll be able to see, you know, how many people like the pool, how many people want the organic garden, just things like that. So you get a rough score of what people really want.
Well, make the survey whatever you want the survey to be.
Do you think, are you collecting any demographic information? Like
Yes.
whether you're.
That's one of the questions.
That's the first 5 questions.
Okay,
Information.
because that's helpful, I mean, because we've struggled with that, and we have
Well, we don't know,
some
exactly.
numbers that.
The first 5 questions are all demographics.
So we're not gonna ask anybody how much they make, or how much they think their house is worth, or anything like that.
Excellent.
So I'll send a link out to everybody. You got my email, please just respond in any way you can. I'll have your response. At the beginning, you have to put your name and your lot number. I know you have to put your lot number and your passcode, but the passcodes aren't loaded in, so just type anything you want in there. There's no restriction. You can type anything you want for the purposes of this test.
It's a demonstration project.
Did we have to vote on it?
There was a motion on the floor.
Yeah.
Well, that was to get comments back to, you're right. Linda seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes for the board and management committee to respond to the long range planning commission in the next 30 days with their comments. All right. Now we're ready to go to the EVOs. And unfortunately, the EVOs roll on to 3 pages tonight, so.
Just for clarity, so review of the report within the next 30 days, give comments, and then the survey will be sent to the board and management.
Right. I'll send it probably tomorrow.
And comments back by,
Fill it out and then just write me personally what you think, what you think needs to be there, what needs to come out, whatever your thoughts are. Just give me an email on it.
Okay, ASAP.
As soon as you can, there's no reason to wait.
Thanks again, Ken. Appreciate you and Ed and the rest of your committee. We're very pleased and grateful to you all. All right, going on to e-votes. Let's get started here. The first three are 7-0 votes. And the first one is an e-vote to approve a new member reception on May 25 from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Lodge Dining Room. The second one is an e-vote to approve $50.82 to Shanna Gordon from Activities for Youth Committee funds as reimbursement for the Easter egg hunt expenses. And the third one is an e-vote for a new member committee to spend $150 from committee funds to purchase a concert table to be raffled off at the new member meeting. I have a motion to accept these e-votes.
So moved.
Greg Pataston moves.
Second.
Scott Martin seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those three pass unanimously or are reapproved. Okay, now we're going to go through quite a few of them, so hang on. These were all 8-0s, yes. No abstentions. Getting started. E-vote approval of up to $2,000 from the golf committee funds to purchase a new fountain for hole number 6 on the golf course. Second one is an e-vote to approve Lakes Committee to have October 19, 2019 for pontoon removal day. Please see Susan's explanation. Explanatory. E-vote to approve Lakes Committee donating $100 from the Lakes Committee fund to the Golf Committee, and I believe that is in support of the member guest, being a sponsor of the member guest. Next is an e-vote to approve $510 from Health and Wellness Funds for a dumpster for the demo day. The next one is an e-vote to approve a total of $3,360 from Chapel Committee funds for the following expenses for services in May and June. These are the funds that are used to support the speakers as well as musicians. Next one is an e-vote to approve an Article 9 hearing for a member who repeatedly allows unregistered guests to his home. That was 8-0. E-vote to reimburse Greg Pataston $286.20 from Organic Garden Committee funds for supplies. There was some detail attached. Next was an e-vote to approve the recommendation of the nominating committee of the following candidates: Mary Beth Fisher, Annie Kerrigan, Jim Lloyd, and Tim Weibel. The A is silent. And Tim Weibel. That was also 8-0. E-vote to approve Activity for Youth to sell Damn Jam t-shirts at the clubhouse, excluding May 25, and other common locations beginning in late May. Other locations would only need approval from any committee affected. Next one is an e-vote to approve $727.45 from social committee funds for half of the amphitheater portalette cost. Important funds there. E-vote to approve. E-vote to approve $200.53 from the golf committee funds for a member guest award for the tournament. E-vote to approve the attached ballot language for the assessment increase. That was 8-0. We will read that into the minutes later on when we discuss that. E-vote to approve ORV committee to provide a safety meeting for ORV youth drivers and family members on Sunday, May 26th at the Dam Shelter House at noon. E-vote to approve an ORV committee workday at the ORV track for all who want to attend and help on Saturday, June 22nd, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And the last one is an e-vote to approve the Health and Wellness Committee paying Beatty Lawn and Tree Services $1,130 to remove 3 trees from in front of the Panacea building. Any questions on these e-votes? May I have a motion to approve? Tom Matthews moves. Second, Linda Lonsinger. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimously passes. Now we go to new business topics. And Greg, I think you brought this one forward.
Yeah. Tracy Oppenheimer, who used to provide yoga classes, she turned that over to Rose Krause, has recently become certified to teach a group fitness class called PIO. I have no idea what PIO is, although.
Pilates and yoga, I bet.
Yeah, if you got it. PIO is a low impact exercise. That's a blend of Pilates and yoga. You got it. She's talked with Rose Krause, and what they're suggesting is that they run the PIO classes at 8:30 prior to yoga. People can do both, or one or the other, and Rose is okay with it. And so she's asking for approval to do. There is no charge to members, and it's just Tracy is just a nice, good person to get certified and then put on the classes for anybody who wants them. So,
Yeah, we look at the schedule, is there time available at 8:30 on Saturday morning?
yes. Other than you have to get up early.
Anyway,
I'm asking for a motion to approve Tracy to go ahead and put out the PIO class.
Linda moves to have the classes available. Scott Martin seconds.
Greg made a motion, Linda second.
He was looking for me.
I said I misspoke. I should have made the motion.
So Greg makes the motion and Linda seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, the Clubhouse Sunday liquor permit process. We've had I've had a conversation with the Hocking County Board of Elections, and the process there is that they have to determine if we would like to get Sunday liquor, open Sunday liquor at the clubhouse, since it's in Hocking County and Marion Township, and it's Marion Township Precinct 1. What they do is to determine whether or not, if you want something to be on the ballot, and it has to be a ballot when people are being elected. So the next ballot that can occur is this next November. And what they do is you have to, if you wish to have it, you have to basically write the language of what you want to do, which would be, providing alcohol at the clubhouse. It's different. Our current license is all you can have is our own beer on Sundays. That's what our liquor license says. If we wish to have, beer, wine, and liquor across the board, because the township is dry, we need a liquor initiative option to go on the ballot next November. And to be able to do that, you need to basically come up with a description of what you want. They recommended that we do it site-specific, so it wouldn't be for the precinct or any part of it. It would be site-specific to our clubhouse. The language would be fairly straightforward, and they will work with us to get that on. The biggest issue is that you need, I think, 30-some% of the people who voted in the previous election to sign a petition and have the petition submitted. And I know that 694 people voted this last November in Marion 1. That means we need 242 valid signatures of people who are registered to vote, wherever they would be. People who are in Marion Precinct 1, we would need 242 valid signatures on our petition.
Would they give us a list of the people that are registered so we could cross-check and?
We have it already. Yeah. And
is Marion one is all of Hideaway Hills, Hocking County, and Marion one?
I don't know.
Yes.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
We used to be a round table in there, but they've changed it since.
Yeah, there's a precinct 2 and precinct 1 for Highway Hills.
When I talked to the woman, she told me she thought that all Hideaway Hills, certainly the clubhouse is in precinct 1. And that would be the one we'd have to deal with.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm wrong, but I know that.
You're right, I think you're right about this.
Because I go to the vote and am I precinct 1 or 2?
The table used to say Hideaway Hills on the thing.
Yeah.
When
Precinct 1 has a lot of people who are not in Hideaway Hills.
Yeah.
It goes basically down to 664. That's where it is. So what we need, though, is we would have to have, again, 242 valid signatures, and then that would put us on the ballot. And of course, the ballot is a 50/50 or, 50.1.
And we need the 245 houses by when?
We would need those by August 7th. So it's nearly 2.5 months.
If those are basically all in Highway Hills, that shouldn't be hard to get.
No.
Well, there's a lot of people not in Highway Hills.
If precinct 2 or precinct.
In precinct 1. There's
Well,
a lot of
we're-
people not in because I went down and looked at it, multiple pages, and scanned through it.
But if in the clubhouse in precinct 2, it's in precinct 1, so it would have to be precinct 1 voters, not precinct 2 voters.
That is correct.
Oh, then you would probably have a lot of hustling to do.
Yeah.
I know where one is.
I mean, we have it electronically, and,
With their addresses.
Yes, it is. It's actually a mailing list form.
We could look at that, that tells how many people are in Hideaway Hills.
I'm wondering if there's any way we could ask people to sign it electronically. If we were to get a hold of somehow the email list or, I don't know, but anyways.
Well, that's important that we, let's find that out. That would be another issue. I went down to meet with her, and she was called away that day, and since then I've been working on, we had a wedding in our family to deal with. So I did not follow up any further than the day that I went in. I originally told her I was coming down, and she, whatever, and the other people didn't want to speak to it. But she's very helpful. So yeah, I think if you had a proposal, they've upgraded their website, Board of Elections website. That's where the data is. So you can find out where the people are. I think it was in PDF form. You'd have to, if you wanted to do some sorts and stuff on the names around. That would be it. So that's the question. Do we wish to proceed with this? I mean, the first question is, do we wish to proceed with this? The second question is, how do we do it? We had a couple conversations about looking into it to see it. I think we now know the process. She said, well, the way everybody else who does this, what they do is they hire a company, and a company comes in and does this. So it's like, she said she thought it was like $3,000 to $4,000.
I remember hearing a similar number to when they did it at the golf course of their pumpkin vine from the owner of that.
Yeah, she said.
I think we can do it ourselves because we have so many people. I can't imagine very many people in Hideaway Hills that vote in Hideaway Hills would be against it. I mean, it's money in our own pockets, really.
What would this do to our liquor license as of now? I mean, is there any danger of losing that?
Nope, none whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever. None whatsoever.
And it's not, technically, it's not dry there wasn't a license available for full liquor. There's a Sunday license available because the dry dock had it, but they didn't have hot liquor.
Well, I guess the way I was looking through it and reading it, apparently, when we came out of Prohibition, everything was dry. Until somebody actually, follows up with an option, it remains that. So now you're right. We have a liquor license to operate our two facilities, one here and one there. But those are different licenses. So if we wish to do this, our current license as a producer does not allow us to have Sunday alcohol.
The interesting thing about that too, if we did that, we got a Hocking County permit, liquor permit, we could probably have the tear-offs there then.
Sure. You really want to muddy the water.
What?
We want to do this first.
Well, seriously, we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it like the clubhouse before because our license was taking back to Fairfield County.
That's correct.
This would be a Hocking County.
That's a question we could certainly find out.
The tear-off said was where your main office was located. I don't know if that'll affect it or not.
Okay.
But that was the question, because the office is in Fairfield and the clubhouse is in Hocking. Because we talked about getting a mailbox down front, an address, and they said, no, that might be something still to look at. And the lady now that Brenda Anders, she's the, I think the president of the.
Executive director of LLC.
Yeah, and they're just right around the corner there, and she'll talk to us. I mean, she kind of said, like, you can get it done. But when I called them, they said, no, there's.
So let's go back to the liquor.
Do we need to form some type of ad hoc committee or?
Well, I think, any individual can go find out what to do, but if the board wants to
What are the pros and cons for getting a liquor license?
Yeah, how does it benefit? I mean, we're gonna have to sell it to people. How does it benefit Hideaway Hills?
We'll have liquor sales on Sunday, whereas right now we don't. So we can't, I don't think a lot of people go up to the clubhouse on Sundays because all we have to serve is our 2 beers. And I think there'll be more people, and there's really no place else to go.
You know, when we say liquor, it's not even liquor, it's any kind of Bud Light or any kind of beers that you can't drink in it.
So we can have now, the one things I thought about was Super Bowl parties now up at the clubhouse. We could, national championships, things that fall on Sundays that we really don't serve that here. We don't have a liquor license.
New Year's Eve party, when they can't have it here, we have 2 different options also. If anything ever happened to the liquor license, you know, we have 2 in that case.
Taking it to the next step, once we get that one, I think thinking out a few years, we're thinking about trying to do the same thing with this one since Freeman passed. If we did, Brandon has a lot of plans to do brunches, not only for Easter, Father's Day, Mother's Day, that sort of thing. Right now, the only thing he can serve up there is our beer. And when you're doing a Mother's Day brunch, pardon me?
Champagne.
Bloody Mary. Yeah, Bloody Marys. So there's a lot of opportunity for additional sales either location.
I think those will be hard to sell. I think we'll have to do some legwork and get signatures and figure out how we're going to gather the signatures.
I volunteer to head up a ad hoc committee.
I'll work with it. Oh, geez. Scotty, Lloyd, and Eric heading up and out. Yahoo!
I can balance it out.
Do we want to make this an official point of the board going forward? Probably wouldn't hurt.
Are you looking for a motion to?
That's why I'm asking whether people think that's, I'm actually asking whether people think that's a good idea.
It would be board business if you voted on it. I don't think you need to vote on making a new committee. It's an ad hoc committee. But the board could appoint an ad hoc committee to look into it and make it official.
I think that makes sense. Anybody have any questions with that? Somebody want to form that as a motion that we can?
Well, if it's an ad hoc committee, can't he just appoint?
Pardon me?
You think we don't need a motion for him to appoint an ad hoc committee, do we?
But what about moving?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you weren't part of the official business, have the motion to appoint, I mean, it doesn't matter.
All right, I'll make a motion to appoint an ad hoc committee to look into to get the process started to get a Sunday liquor license for Hocking County.
At the clubhouse.
At the clubhouse. Thank you, Eric.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And Mr. President, I would like to ask Mr. Lapp, Mr. Martin, and Mr. Lloyd to proceed with this. And Mr. Lapp has said he would be happy to, and Mr. Kirk.
Thank you.
And Mr. Lapp is going to spearhead the effort.
Well, and Greg.
And Greg. Holy smokes.
Everybody, have a board meeting.
So, one besides, we got to announce it in advance.
You got a quorum.
All right, let's move on. Randy.
I have a member who's interested in, well, they're buying 2 lots, 2 member-owned lots, and they're interested in buying a 3rd lot, a club lot. They have offered $4,000 on that club lot. I'd like approval to move forward with that purchase.
Where is lot 535?
It's on Navajo. Yeah.
Is it a buildable lot or is it just?
No. They're just wanting to add it.
I mean, is there a chance to sell it to someone else for another new member fee?
I doubt it.
Okay, that's basically
Yeah,
what I
I
meant.
doubt it.
Any more questions? These folks will then have 3 lots, and they'll be able to join them together. We will be getting a new member
Right.
from
From them, yeah.
from them, so we have that. Would somebody like to make a motion? Dennis is making a motion on this to accept the $4,000 for lot 535 with seconds. Any further questions of Randy? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, Randy. Yep. Good deal on that one. All righty. Mr. Vanessa, do you have that language?
Something else first.
No.
No, he's right.
Assessment increase.
Assessment increase recap and plan.
Yeah, I was gonna read that into what we voted into.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I heard this.
All right. I just wanted to make sure.
See, I wasn't so bad, was I?
What's the corollary there?
Compared to what?
That's my question. Oh, I was actually taking umbrage on that one, never mind. All right, I wanted to read this into, Jim has already spoken somewhat to the next steps, but I think it'd be appropriate to read this into the minutes tonight. And this is what we voted for, 8-0, the e-vote for the new language for the lot assessments. And it reads this way, it says section 4, the dues of members shall be the assessments imposed pursuant to the Code of Regulations as amended from time to time in paragraph 8 of the deed restrictions for Hideaway Hills as to said lots and parcels. Effective January 1, 2019, the normal lot assessment for a lot or parcel, whether developed or undeveloped, owned by a member or members, is $168.53 per month. The next line, this is where we start getting to the changes. Effective from January 1, 2020 through May 31, 2021, the normal lot assessment shall be $188.53 per month. Effective from June 1, 2021 through December 2021, the normal lot assessment shall be $208.53 per month. Effective January 1, 2022, the normal lot assessment shall be $228.53 per month. The currently established schedule for cost of living increases in the normal lot assessment based on the Consumer Price Index, parentheses CPI-W, shall be suspended for the years 2020, 2021, and 2022, during which the above specified amendments will take effect. Effective January 1 of each calendar year from 2023 through 2027, said normal lot assessment shall increase each year by the percentage of increase in the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers, CPI-W, as established by the Bureau of Labor Statistics of the U.S. Department of Labor for the preceding month of September of each calendar year as compared to the identical index issued for the month of September of the previous calendar year, with a limit to the increase of 5% of the normal lot assessment charged for the prior calendar year. In the event of a decrease in the index, there shall be no decrease in the normal lot assessment. These assessments shall be payable in advance, either annually, semi-annually, quarterly, or monthly. CPI-W is the Bureau of Labor Index tied to Social Security. I did want to make that because we did vote on that, and that's what we have to work on next, is the process of how we're going to do it. Jim made some comments earlier about putting a group together. We already had several people who have volunteered, and I think it's going to be extremely important. I mean, we voted 8-0 on this to get behind it so that we can really make, I think, a major sort of transformational upgrade in what our assessment support is. We tried $15 a year ago. We were not successful. We had many people in my experience come up to me and say, well, we didn't vote for it because we didn't think we were sure it was going to pass. And the other question, which I think this specifically addresses, is the fact, was that enough to really make a difference? And I think the management committee came back to us and said, no, $15 is not enough. We need to work on this, and if we're going to fix the infrastructure and many of the issues of the things we need the additional funds. So, Jim, do you have a committee per se, or a leader for your committee yet?
I haven't picked a leader, no.
Okay.
I have some names. I met with Eric Boysko Saturday, and he's already sent me haven't had a chance to look at it yet, the FAQ sheet that he wants, some input on and start working on. I actually talked to Tim Weibel, and he expressed the desire to help on the committee. Cindy Lynch said she would help again, and there's numerous others that we just need to get a hold of that have expressed over the last year that they wanted to be involved when we went at it again this year. And that's why I said, I need to put myself on a deadline, and I think we want to have the initial get-together to form the committee by the 15th of June, by your next meeting in June.
Okay.
So that.
Well, I'd like to volunteer to be part of the process as well.
Is there a list from the 66 and 2/3 committee, the members on that somewhere? Sure, because they sure did a good job on selling $4,000. Probably they've got a lot of experience and knowledge that might help you.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's a list somewhere in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think there's still a web.
Well, Cindy was on it. Kevin McLean, which I plan on reaching out to.
Yeah, he's gone.
They're gone.
Well, one's in Arizona, one's in San Diego.
Then I'm not reaching out to him.
Was there for a long period of time, or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't know. They both got transferred.
Wow.
And Kevin left a month ago. Mark left day before yesterday.
Okay. I heard Mark told me he was.
Yeah,
I didn't know Kevin. Yeah. But we need to look and see if we can get a hold of that list, because that.
It's definitely there. I mean, Patrick Foy was involved too.
Yeah, there was enough that. Part of it's going to be numbers. I mean, we can't do it with. I think the committee last year was 3 people. And
yeah.
They didn't even try to do a phone, get out the vote kind of thing, which the 66 and 2/3 did. They spent a lot of time, giving each one of the guys on the committee 5 or 10 people on a weekend to try to get a hold of. So that needs to be done.
Dylan Parker was on. See bigs up.
Well, Dave was part of the ad hoc committee for the Christmas fund, and at that time he said, "Keep me in mind when you do it." So I planned on calling that household, and I'll take them both.
Perfect.
Anybody else want to volunteer?
I'm already on one committee.
Just because it doesn't have anything to do with beer or what?
I'm glad I didn't say that. I'll gavel that down.
Are you gonna have beer at your meetings? I'll tell you what we can do, we can have the meetings at the clubhouse, how's that?
Will there be cameras?
We'll do it out in the shelter house, how's that?
Bring it back. Okay.
That was a low blow, by the way.
Any further discussion on this subject? I'm good. I mean, I don't think we can do anything much other than let's get going with it. Get our ideas together, our thoughts, and sell our the package that we have. So market this thing and get it out, because I think it's, I don't know how many times you can keep coming back to do this stuff. You've got to really make it work and go after it.
The funny thing is, I've had nobody complain about it. I mean, it's not really out there yet, but there's a lot of rumors and stuff, and I really had nobody complain about it.
It'll be in my president's report in the ECHO coming forward. We will,
Special meeting and announced it, so.
Right. At this point, yes, I think we've got to get it out, get people used to the idea, and we have to make sure that they understand the type of things that we're doing here. It's not bells and whistles. This is the real infrastructure issues of the club. These are things. Do they want to keep getting their packages delivered down front? I mean, we need that's some of the stuff we have to look into, how we're going to do that moving forward. All right, moving along. Mr. Patassin, you've been the leader, you and Randy have been the leader on this. You are in the swamp house.
We've been negotiating with ODNR for actually 3 years about, we would give them the lot and the house. That's the small of the two lots back there, the little one. And then we would lease them the big pie-shaped lot where you drive in, because that's Hideaway Hills property. The small one with the house is not Hideaway Hills property, so we can give that away. The other one we cannot sell or give away without a full membership vote. 100% of the people have to say yes, which is impossible. So that'll be a lease. We now have the proposal from ODNR, which is 18 pages plus cover letters and signing pages. And, yeah, right. Both Larry Barker and Spangler looked over it. And the only issues they have with it are, well, a minor issue, we might have to pay tax on the real value of the leased area, which would be tax on $2,000 a year. Be like one assessment, which I think is minimal. But ODNR is suggesting that we get a title, or do a title search, and they're also asking for a survey. And both attorneys, and I think based on what this committee, or this board said before, why would we pay for that if we're giving them the lot? Right. So unless somebody has had other thoughts, I'm suggesting we just ask Randy to write them back and say, hey, since we are giving you the lot and granting you the lease at no cost, we think you should pick up any expenses regarding title and or transfer fees. And we're talking about a maximum of $1,700. I think we
The survey is gonna be $500 or $600.
Yeah.
And then the title insurance is what, $1,000, something like that?
2 to 3.
200 to 300. It could be more.
Okay.
Not 2 to 3,000, 2 to 300.
100, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm getting overcharged.
There you go. So it's not a lot of money, but why should we fork up the money? So,
Agreed.
so
I think that should be a deal stopper, though.
it'd be surprising if it is. But we'll see. If they say, no, that's it, then we have to come here and think about it. So,
And remember, both of these pieces of property were donated or sold to us for $1 with the idea that we would have the visitor center over at the swamp. That was the idea.
so I don't think we need a motion on that. I just wanted to give you an update, and I'll give it right back to Randy who gave it to me tonight. Be nice when you write the letter.
Yeah.
All right, moving on, lodge deck update. We have a contract, not signed, but a contract proposal from the carpenters. We have a finalized equipment and materials budget from Carter Lumber. And those two pieces are certainly within what we had thought they were in the budget. The issue has been coming up with the excavation and the footings. We've gotten 2 bids. The first bid was for both levels, and that was from Eigel, and that was way back earlier in the year, and that was for over $50,000. So subsequently, when we downsized the project to just be the upper level, we reestablished that we needed 18 holes dug with concrete in the bottom of them to support the structure. And I went to 2 different places, and I did end up getting a bid from one of them. And the bid was essentially nearly $2,500 per hole. And so that was a deal breaker in terms of what our current budget is. So subsequently have gotten, I'm still holding that contract proposal. I've asked for it to be revised and reduced in cost. In the meantime, I've had 2 different names come forward, and I've had 2 conversations this week I expect another bid this week on that. The original number that we looked at for that to fit within our fixture was on the order of $25,000 to $30,000 maximum. I thought that was a pretty good number from talking to people who do excavation when we started. And so this latest one, or the latest one we got, which was over $45,000, just seems like it's out of order. At that level, because the materials in the project are going to be under $30,000, and again the contract for the carpenters was right where we wanted. So we need that. The people on my committee have looked at it. They also feel that the footing price that we received last week or the week before was too high. So we're going to try to get something else, and we're going to go from there. Again, no money's been spent from the committee at this point. We're finalizing the pieces, and hopefully we're going to get a bid which is going to enable us to move forward with the funds that we have in hand. People have assured me that they have some what you call time to do the work yet here as soon as we can get it finished. So I'm working, like you said, with 5 people, and we'll keep plugging away. It's been very difficult. The one person who assured me he was very interested didn't get back to me. When he finally got back to me, the price was much more than I had anticipated, and people that I talked to beforehand had thought it would be. So as soon as I get it, I'll get back with my committee and bring it forward as a recommendation.
Has any of the concrete people given you any kind of indication that maybe these footings are more than what they've done in the past for similar type of projects?
That has not been a question. And yes, we've heard that they're substantial, but again, we've gone to a structural engineer and be able to design it to that to give us, a structure that meets state licensing requirements. And so that's what we've done. I'm not going to. No, I don't.
Well, I don't doubt that. I just wondered, is it above and beyond what's required? Or
there's a margin of safety in there, sure.
Well, yeah.
The bigger concern was from the guy that I talked to latest was he felt he would run into a lot of stone in this hillside. And that would cost him more.
Everywhere I've dug in Highway Hills, I've run into
Yeah,
stone.
that was one of the concerns, and I think ultimately why he has walked away, moved away from the project. I think that's exactly what it was. Because I even talked to him about doing just time and materials, that we would be able to do it that way, which he was, a little more interested in doing. But so again, met with the other people here just this week. I will hopefully. I mean, if the best we can do is the one we've got, then it'll be we'll have to decide. But I'll ask the folks that are working on this and reviewing it to come up with what they think. Whether they want to try to raise some more money, or whether we just tell people, sorry. Again, we haven't spent any money. The only money we've spent at this point is for the structural engineer, and that's come out of my pocket. That's the only money we spent on any. I'm sorry, Jim Kirk bought some plans for us too, a year or so ago, but that came out of his pocket for the donation. So that's where we're at. Hopefully I'll get, as soon as I get it, I will. Again, I'm working with Dave Lee, I'm working with Ruth Miller, I'm working with Jim and Dan Donovan and Kathy Clevenger. Those are the people that I'm working with. And they'll make the decision, they'll bring it back to me.
What decision?
Whether if we can get the price down to where we can do it, then we'll bring it back here and tell people what we're doing. If we can, if the best I get is this $40-some thousand plus the 30,000 plus the 20,000, then they'll have to decide whether they want to raise more money or we want to. Because we don't have that much money.
What was the total on that? I know it's 45,000.
I think we're at like 50-some thousand, 53, 54. It's in the account. We have some outstanding pledges that are still there. And then there was another 5 or 7,500 from amenities. And then there was another 15,000 amenities for furniture.
So, okay. But no, the total in bids. So the digging the holes in the concrete was 45.
Correct.
The lumber was
Under 30. We're basically
30.
we're working with that right now. I've sent a couple things back to the engineer because the guys from Carter recommended a couple of things that he'd included were now things that were standard in stock, and that will probably save us a couple $1,000 if the engineer agrees to deal with it.
what about carpentry? I didn't get a number on that. 20,000.
Black.
95 to 1.
Well, at this point, yeah.
That's what you're asking.
Or it comes down to 80.
That's what you're asking.
We thought originally that the excavation for 18 holes would be on the order of 20 to 25 at the most.
Sure.
We didn't expect.
And that's just for the phase that you reduced.
That's
back
the
from
18 holes that we've got, yeah, that's 18 holes. That's been the bugaboo, is trying to get that done.
That's the base months of a hole.
Hey, Jim,
And
right there. Right now, you got $53,412.74.
Okay.
According to what Tom sent out the
Yep.
other day.
And then again, there's a couple
Right.
outstanding pledges that are people, I think they're sitting there waiting to see if we're gonna do this thing before they pay any money. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them, believe me, there's nobody wants to get the thing done more than I do. Alrighty, that's where it is. Moving on. Do we have any new members, Mr. Lang?
It's funny you would ask that. We do.
I do ask that every meeting.
And I would like to make a motion to approve the following new members. Bradley and Gail Donahue, lots 1314, lot 1314. Bradley and Beverly George, lots 374 and lot 375. Kurt and Kimberly Hoft, lot 928. And Jacob and Stephanie Howdyshell, lots 1598, 1599, and 1600.
We have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Linda seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I've seen like 4 or 5 more houses that are in contract right now. Driving around.
Could be a few more. I'd like to see that.
Why did you have the Coosa?
There's a home for sale on Coosa if anybody wants.
Is that black investment?
So is this board meeting sponsored by?
Where's the banner? It's been brought to my attention, there's some additional.
Yes, I apologize. I need to rescind the earlier motion regarding the tadpole fishing contest so that I can make a more thorough motion.
Do we need a second? Second, I roll from the chair.
We always have had a second.
Yeah,
and a third.
the person who seconded has to agree to pull their second. Okay. Seconded.
Now get put on the spot here, all right? Tom did.
Tom,
You agree, Tom?
You don't want $500?
Yeah.
All right. I rescind.
Thank you very much.
Motion rescinded.
So, the new motion would be for the tadpole fishing contest to occur on Saturday, June 15th. Fishing to begin in the morning, weigh in at 12 noon. As a part of the same motion, we request up to $500 of Lake Committee funds for prizes and food for the day.
Motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Second.
Again.
Any further questions of Linda on this well-plowed territory? No? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. May I have a motion to adjourn to executive? So moved. Scott Morrison, seconded by Linda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Time is 8:53.
8:53, thank you.
Harris, do you want me to email you that text? She should, but if she doesn't.
She almost won't like that.
Yeah.
No.